All right, hope everyone had a good month. As you can see, I have a lucky shirt on. Can only mean one of two things. Either spring's in the air or I'm going to the casino. Or it could mean both things. It's a lucky shirt. Snowbirds are starting to leave a little bit from down here, which means, in all likelihood, the next 30 days or so we'll transition from more second home ownership to locals buying and selling, especially as we get to further into the school year and people start to move around. So at any rate, have some interesting numbers for you guys I want to dig into a little bit. So let's get right to it, shall we? First things first, 2,519 active listings a year ago, 2,483 listings. So about flat, down 1.4%, but let's just call it flat year over year. Again, we'd really like to see that number declining, but no such luck as of right now, as it looks like the last few months we've actually been steadily rising. Over to the all-important number of actual sales that took place. A year ago, 253. This last February here, 287. So a 13% bump year over year, which is really good news. Hopefully we can keep the momentum going. If you look back to March of 2017, you see there was 387 sales that took place. So we really set a bar pretty high. 287 this month, we'd have to go to 387 just to maintain year over year. That's a big jump, but we'll see if we can get there. Again, what I'd like to see more and more is less inventory on the market. I'd like to see better priced inventory that is on the market. Little side note for sellers, really right now what I see is buyers are really looking for things they don't have to put any work into. They're really looking for turnkey right now. So just food for thought if you're thinking of selling, maybe do the upgrades before you list, where 2 years ago I wouldn't have told you that was necessary. So a little bit of a shift in the market there. So let's move on. Skip right over to average price per square foot. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. 321 as of February of 2018. A year ago, 298. So we took a little bit of a jump up, 7.7%. Again, for those of you that have been listening to me a while, I don't put a whole lot of stock into that slide. It's good to have it around so that you can kind of get a gauge on the market, but if you're talking about waterfront property, you're not getting it for $320 a foot. Likewise, if you're talking about a house with a lot of square footage in an area that carries lower median sale price, it's not going to translate through. You're not going to be looking at $300 a foot. You're going to be looking at significantly less. So just keep that in mind as you look at that. Let's get over to median pricing. $283,000. In February of 2017, 324,000. So we've seen a jump up of 14.5%. You can take a minute and look at this. I think one of the kind of important things to look at is that we've gotten above 300,000 9 out of the last 12 months. I'm not so sure that we're going to dip back down below that. I think that's really where you're going to see the median pricing. My opinion on how that happened is quite simple. The bottom pushed up. It's not that the higher price brackets are pushing higher. That's not happening at all. But the bottom is certainly pushing up around here. It's much harder to find lower dollar price properties than it was not so far in the not so distant past. But as we move on to the slides here a little bit, I am going to talk to you about different price points and where things are selling, where they aren't. So hold on to that thought for just a moment. Let's take a jog over to days on market and original list price versus final sale price. Good news for the sellers. You see that dip off from 118 days on market down to the 87 days on market. It's a huge drop off. It's a 26% decline in the average number of days on market. That can be due to a couple of things. One is people starting to realize the high-priced stuff or the price stuff over the market just isn't selling. And if you want to sell, you really got to get realistic about pricing. The second kind of number to pay attention to, I guess, is the if you look at the original sale price versus where things actually sold. A year ago, it was 89% of the listing price. Now 92% of the listing price. So I think what the chart is quickly showing you is people are getting more realistic about pricing, so they're selling faster. And they're selling for closer to list price because they're listing closer to where they should have priced from the beginning. Look, it's crucial when you're listing a property, unless you want to spend 6 months on the market and end up getting what I feel is lower than you would have gotten if you just priced right from the beginning. So I think we're starting to see that play out, and I had been talking about that for a number of months. So I'm happy to see it starting to get reflected in the data, and maybe sellers are starting to realize this market's not red hot like they thought it was. And certainly we don't have a lack of inventory, so buyers have a lot of different options. All right, here's the big one, right? Tells us the most, or I feel tells us the most about where our market is right now. Months of inventory based on closed sales. So we're down year over year, down 13% from 10 months to 8.7 months. That's a good sign. We flattened out from last month, right? 8.7 to 8.7, that's a good sign. The bummer of it is we had been on a nice trajectory from that 9.5, 9.2, 8.2, 7.4, and then we just kind of bounced the wrong direction. But I guess to say it a different way, I guess the good news is we're not going in the wrong direction. We seem to have just gone sideways. All right, last thing I want to get to here real quick is I got an email from one of my illustrious readers asking where are things actually selling? Where's the market actually moving? And I realized that I hadn't broken down by price point for you guys in quite some time. So to take a quick look at it, for those people looking over $1 million, 34 of the 287 sales that took place last month were over $1 million. So 12% of sales around here, only 12% are $1 million plus. So then you ask, so where are all the sales taking place? So get a load of this. 151 of the 287 sales, 53% of the total sales last month were $300,000 or below. So again, I think we're seeing the bottom of the market push up. I think all the activity is on the bottom of the market. If you're a buyer and you're on the bottom of the market, take note. You're probably going to see some competition where if you're a buyer of $1 million and above, you're not going to be competing with a whole lot of people. Sellers, again, going to see more competition, $300,000 or below. It's a rosier picture for you. If you're trying to list and you're over $1 million, it's a tough go right now. So that's what I got for you this month. I hope everyone had a good month, and I hope my swordfish bring you some luck, and that's not so welcome in summer as the weather changes here, all right? Take care, everybody.